Okay, so this was originally going to be a top 10 Genshin characters I don't like video, but as I was making the script, I saw in my YouTube recommended a video by Sorosness titled Clorinde, How Hoyo Should Be Writing Characters, and all I could say to that was, but as I thought about it, the more I realized that I had a lot more to say about Clorinde than expected. So being the writing analyst that I am, I decided to make my own video talking about my problems with Clorinde and why I think she's the most disappointing character in the game. I'm unsure if this topic could be considered a hot take, but as I was reading the comments to that video, I found that there were actually quite the number of people who felt the same way I did. And if you actually like Clorinde, then more power to you. I'm just here to lay down my thoughts about a character. While this video can be seen as a counter-argument to Sorosness' video, I'm absolutely trying my best to make it not seem like so. But I do recommend that you check out that video if you're interested in hearing the other side. Additionally, it's important to note that I haven't revisited the Archon quest or Clorinde story quest ever since I completed them 1 to 2 years ago. And I don't want to sit through 18 hours of content just for this stupid video. So every point that I make is pretty much just gonna come from memory and interpretation. I know that there's more to a character than just the quests that they're in, since they have their own profiles that explain their lore and their traits, but I'm only going to be looking purely at the Archon and story quest, because those are the things that matter most to me, as they are the first and foremost things that a player goes through when being introduced to a character. Also, this goes without saying, but spoiler warning for the Fontaine arc and Clorinde story quest. So without further ado, let's begin. I don't think it's a stretch to say that Clorinde gets little to no development the entire Archon quest, to the point where you could completely cut her out of the story, make a few tweaks, and nothing would change. She's first introduced when Furina makes her debut upon our arrival in Fontaine, and seeing how serious she was during that segment, it does make for an interesting setup about her stoic demeanor and intensity. Later we learn from Child that she's a champion duelist, how the fight for honor system works, and that she is the best of the best, which again is a good setup. So what do they do with this? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay, well, it's not completely thrown out the window. We do have a connection with her and Calus, which is used to prove that both he and Lyney were innocent, and the drama she has with Navia due to Calus' death is pretty interesting as well, so I'll give her that. It would have been cooler if we were shown the duel between her and Calus in a flashback, but whatevs. However, after Act 1 is over, she just doesn't really do anything. When I was watching the cutscene with her and Wriothesley against the primordial water for the first time, all I could think was, what the fuck is she gonna do? Now granted, Wriothesley and Sigewinne also feel like wasted characters, but this video isn't about that. She just sort of hangs around the group, and because we never get a one-to-one moment with her, she falls short in comparison to the rest of the cast. Look at Navia for example. We get so many intimate moments with her in both the Archon quest and story quest. We get to know what kind of person she is, the inner struggles that she has to deal with and how it affects her, and it makes her feel like a real person. Even the fanservicey moments have strong significance. When she asks us if we're truly partners and we reassure her that we are, that's the best thing ever. And they do all of this without sidetracking from the main conflict of Fontaine or reducing your character, and if anything, it adds to it. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, Navia is my favorite character in the game, and if you think my opinion is shit, then I will throw you into a trash can. Speaking of trash, let's get back to Clorinde. As I was saying, we never get to have a proper talk with Clorinde, not in the Archon quest, and I'm 90% sure not in her story quest either. During the whole Navia and Clorinde arc, the tension that the two have is actually super engaging, but because it's resolved overnight off screen, the resolution has no weight to it, and then after that they just act like they're best friends again and low-key brush over Calus' death. It would have been so much better if we had a conversation with Clorinde, talking about the guilt that she's had to carry after killing Calus, or how the loss of Navia's friendship impacts her. She just appears stoic most of the time, and it's uninteresting. I'm not saying that her stoic personality is bad, but the story would have benefited greatly had we got a moment of vulnerability with her, and she does show a hint of it after her kick-ass Gardamet cutscene, but that's all we get. I know that she draws a fine line between being serious and being laid back, but this is a critical moment between her and Navia. Give us more. Neuvillette and Arlecchino are how you make interesting characters who appear unemotional. You see what I mean here? This is one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of the Clarivia ship. I know I give it A tier in the shipping video, but now it gets a C tier. The pacing is too fast for a reconciliation, and Clorinde is such an underdeveloped character that romantic implications don't feel earned. I can only see them purely platonically. The only tidbit of Clorinde's character that we see in the Archon quest is before Furina's trial, when she talks about going hunting, which I honestly couldn't give two shits about. In the majority of Fontaine's arc, Clorinde just comes off as a bland character, and she doesn't even have the charisma to make her memorable. Lynette, for example, is a 4-star and not the most developed character in the story, but I love her because she's funny. Firmament isn't my favorite character, but I like his shy and timid nature and find his interactions with his siblings cute. Lyney is a phantom thief, Charlotte is peppy and swift, Furina is a brat turned tearjerker, Shiori is sassy and strong, the list goes on. Given all of the points I've made so far, Clorinde is just a nothing burger character that had such untapped potential. I'm sorry Clorinde fans, but the Archon quest doesn't do much good for her, but at least I can wait until her story quest comes out. Maybe that'll give me what I want. See you in 4.7.
The path she walks, needs no explanation.
That's it?
When Clorinde became playable on June 5th, 2024, I hopped into her story quest on launch day, hoping that I would be able to learn more about her. And credit where credit is due, we do learn about her childhood and her connection with the Marechaussee Hunters, which is cool. The thing that I don't like though, is how many fucking characters there are. Why are Navia, Farina, and Linny all here? They serve no purpose except for maybe Navia. Even though Navia's story quest was great without the presence of Clorinde, but we don't. This is exactly what I mentioned earlier, that there's never a moment with Clorinde that matters, because it's always intertwined with other characters. And because of this, the quest is struggling to balance the screen time between Clorinde's lore drops, the D&D game, the extra characters, and the main conflict all at once. Unlike Shiori's story quest, where the characters actually contribute to the story without hogging the spotlight, the characters in Clorinde's quest are just kinda here to hang out. Shiori's quest works because the character extras help fight the main conflict and protect Shiori's strength as a designer. Clorinde's quest doesn't work because the only thing they do is play D&D until they finally summon their personas. If you watch the MCU, think of the cameos like in No Way Home vs Multiverse of Madness. The former has necessary cameos, the latter has questionable usage of them. If this is the type of quest that Hoyo wanted to go for, I don't know if that's the best idea. As I was playing through Clorinde's quest, I was constantly saying that it was much more fitting for a limited time event, like Lantern Rite or the TCG tournament, and the quest is literally structured exactly like an event. Big group of characters, something to do, a multiple day time frame. I would have much preferred a quest where it was just a traveler and Clorinde solving a problem. Or if you wanted to keep the gaming aspect, literally just take out the other characters. Also, just something to add, I've heard some people say that Clorinde playing tabletop games was a last minute quirk that they shoehorned in just to give her some character. I've also heard someone say that her friendship with Navia also feels shoehorned in and a little bit ingenuous, and it would have been better if Clorinde was an authoritative, almost parental figure. Now, it's not what I personally believe, but I can definitely see where those people are coming from. If Clorinde is supposed to be younger than Navia, it does feel kind of weird for her to kill Callus, but I digress. Anyway, this is about Clorinde's story quest, so let's get back on track. I genuinely don't know what to say. While the quest does put some information on her, it's also loaded with problems and barely contributes anything to her, which continues to make her a super bland and boring character. There are moments that are definitely fun in the quest, but still, I can't help but feel a little bit disappointed. Okay, I feel like I've been too negative for the past few minutes, and if you're a Clorinde enjoyer, you're probably foaming at the mouth watching me berate your favorite character. So instead, let's shift things in a more positive direction and talk about what I like about her. Design and gameplay wise, she is very cool. I kind of wish that the colors in her attire were a little bit desaturated, but what the hell do I know. I think her design is very fitting for a duelist like her, and her playstyle matches it very well too. I actually theorized before her release that she was going to be a stance switcher, like Child, and I think this game needs more stance switching characters. I think that her character demo is the most visually clean to look at. Just the colors and the scene direction and the overall animation quality are absolutely gorgeous. I especially love this shot of the water hitting her gun, and the way that she just points it at the camera. Mega aura points. I think her interactions with Navia are entertaining, and sometimes even sweet. The lipstick scene will always live rent-free in my head. And the last thing that I want to say is that she is hot. I tried, guys. I tried really hard to like this character, but after seeing Hoyo absolutely fumble her, and the immeasurable disappointment I went through, she's just always going to be a whatever character to me, and heck, I even dislike her. However, this does not mean that you can't enjoy Clorinde personally. In the end, this is just a video game, and all thoughts are completely subjective. You are allowed to agree or disagree with me as much as you'd like, and if you want to share your thoughts, feel free to tell me in the comments. Once again, shout out to Saurusness for catalyzing this whole video, and make sure to check her out too. If you want to see more videos like this one where I just yap, then make sure to let me know because god my upload schedule is terrible. I have some video ideas in mind, so the support is greatly appreciated if you do want to see more. Anyways, that's all I gotta say for now. See you next time. Not you.